Today we're going to see how to download and install Progress OpenEdge. The first thing we're going to do is go to the ESD site, which per the browser there is www.progress.com/ESD. At this point it's going to prompt you for a login, which should have been provided from Osprey. Here we're going to see a list of all the accounts enabled for the given system. In this case, since it's my account, we have several, but we're going to scroll down to Osprey Retail Systems SaaS and click on that. Once we've clicked on that, we're going to choose the product in question, which is Progress OpenEdge, and click on there. Having clicked on that, it's going to open a listing of all the possible OpenEdge applications that we can download. In our case, we're looking for Progress OpenEdge 11.4 all platforms. So we're going to click on that. That will bring up our license agreement, which you should read. In this case, for brevity's sake, we're going to quickly scroll through it and then accept it at the bottom. Once we've accepted it, it's going to bring up our list of platforms. Regardless of what style of Windows, 32 or 64-bit, you're installing on, we want the 32-bit Windows installation as our application is 32-bit. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to start to download, which, depending on your connection, may take a minute or two or may take 10-15 minutes. Once we've done that, we're going to need to choose the License tab to get our Progress license. Clicking on that will open up a new tab and give us our license. If we can simply print it from here if we choose, but if you click on Print Friendly, you'll get an easier to read section here. Now you can go ahead and print this, and I recommend that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to save as, and I'm going to save it to my download folder, because the installer can actually read the saved data versus me having to type it all in. Once I've done that, I'm going to close the window and I'm going to browse out to where I've downloaded my OpenEdge, which in my case is my downloads folder. I'm going to extract this archive. In this computer it's got 7-zip, so I'm going to extract it to a folder where I can install from. In this case, OE 11.4. You don't have to use 7-zip. You can use just Windows Explorer, or WinZip, WinRAR, whatever your choice is. Now that it's extracted, I'm going to browse out to where I extracted, and I'm going to scroll down until I find the setup executable. I'm going to right-click and run as administrator. One note, I have UAC temporarily turned off for my installations. That is optional. However, it makes one less pop-up, so I went ahead and turned it off. Once I'm complete, I'm going to go ahead and re-enable that. At this point, it's installing some required files, and then it's going to check system requirements to see what else needs to be loaded. That'll take just a moment, depending on the computer. Here we are with the splash screen. Again, you should read through this, but I'm going to skip by it for brevity. Here I'm going to load my license addendum file, which I also save to my download folders. This allows me to not have to type in serial numbers and control numbers. For our purposes here, I do not need the personal database, so I'm going to click on it and remove it. I simply want my enterprise and application server, and then I'm going to choose next. These are my default installation folders. I want to leave them as is. Same here. So I'm going to next through both of those screens. I want to complete install, so I'm going to choose next again. Here I only need OpenEdge Explorer, and I need my .NET Framework 4.0. If .NET 4.0 was already loaded on the machine, that would be grayed out and I would not need to choose it. From there I'm going to hit next 2 more times. I am going to choose to install the SQL Server engine in case I do need it down the line. And then from there, everything else are simply default. So it's next, 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 next. There's a summary. I'm going to hit next one more time, and it's going to go ahead and start the installation. Thanks to the magic of pausing a video, our installation is almost complete. Once the OpenEdge installation portion of that is done, it's going to install the additional components it needs. So it's going to touch some system files. Then it's going to configure those files. It's going to set up its INI files and its OpenEdge files. Now we need to allow Java via the Windows firewall. If your firewall was turned off, you wouldn't see that. However, assuming it is on, which it is by default, you will want to add an exception. It's now processing data. Ignore the not responding. It is actually responding and doing something. There we go. Now it's going to create our folders and icons. Now it's going to install our ODBC drivers for SQL access. There is not a requirement for that. If you chose not to install the SQL driver earlier in the install process, it would not do this, but it's easier to go ahead and do it in case you might want it down the line than try to go back and add it after the fact. So Osprey would always recommend installing the ODBC drivers. You don't have to actually configure them, but at least have them installed. Next up, it's going to start installing .NET 4. As I mentioned previously, you can, if that may already be on the machine, or you can actually download it via Windows Update, and then it will not be installed via OpenEdge, and will save you a few minutes during the install process. However, again, due to the great ability to pause and restart, I've shortened the wait time on this down to a few seconds. There we go, we finished, we click finish, and our OpenEdge installation is complete, and you can move on to installing UnifyPOS or UnifyHost. Thank you.